for continuing to host these incredibly significant discussions that we're having now. I don't have to tell you that there is no other campaign happening any place in this country that's having this kind of discussion. Listen to our candidates. I mean, incredible leadership coming from these candidates who are talking about pulling the covers off a social system that is rotten to its core and that can't produce anything good for us. That's why they produce Bakers and Congenis and Kreisman. This is a natural outcome of what they do. So I want to express appreciation to NPDOM, to President Liu, who has presided over this meeting, and to our incredible candidates, and to all of you who have come out. I want to also simply restate the political education that happens in these meetings. We are breaking all the rules about campaigning. The fact is that we are supposed to be so intimidated that we learn how to play the game by saying only those things that are acceptable to those who are in power. And obviously that's not what's happening here. So I would like to just take a minute or two to say something about this elections and elections in general. And the first thing I want to say is that a man named Frederick Engels, who lived some time ago in the 1800s, made the statement correctly that under bourgeois democracy, that elections are simply a gauge of the maturity of the working class. Never can be any more than that. They're simply a gauge of the maturity of the working class. And what he was talking about is the reality that what we are up against is a social system. And this social system results in certain kinds of relationships being in existing, oppressed and oppressors. It's a capitalist system. But what even Engels and Marx did not quite understand, or could not clearly articulate, even though they hinted around the edges of the question, is that even as they talked about, capitalism was not something that simply dropped out of the sky. It wasn't something that Jesus brought after the third day he was supposed to have been dead. It wasn't written on the big rock that Moses supposedly brought down from the mountain. It's something that has an origin. It is a kind of social system. You and I need to know about this, because one of the reasons they don't want Jesse on that platform, one of the reasons that they do everything they can to keep us from being heard by masses of people at the same time, is because we make sense and because we take the covers off a social system that was born of slavery and genocide. It has its origin in slavery and genocide. It's not, and it has created this notion. It has fed this insanity that when even white people think about it, they know it's crazy as hell, that the reason that the white people have everything in general terms, and Africans and so-called Indians and so-called Mexicans and all the other people who got nothing, is because white people are special. That are smarter than everybody else, more civilized than everybody else, etc. And you know, I know most white people, when they look in the mirror, they know that's a lie. It's a fallacy. But there has to be a question of how all of this wealth got here. Is it George Bush correct when he says that we got it all because, meaning the American white people, because we are good? Come on. And people hate us because they're evil? Is Bush correct on that? And of course he's not correct. The fact is that you're talking about wealth that has come into existence, a whole new world. I mean, think about this. Up until a few hundred years ago, most of the people who we call white today lived in a state of desperation, destitution, poverty, disease, etc. They lost half of the population in 4 short years. Think about that. Think about things were so bad that they would get on a ship thinking that the world was flat, and would take the chance of getting on a ship, riding out to the horizon with the possibility of falling off looking for spices or nutmeg. That is a statement of desperation if I ever heard of that. I mean, and this is the process through which what we now know as Europe and Europeans came into resources, wealth, freed themselves from the consequences of the Black Plague, freed themselves from the consequences of feudalism that lasted for 1,000 years and that actually had people living in sometimes starvation and living in actual, sometimes naked with no clothing to wear. This is the real Europe. Take off the nonsense about this privileged, intellectually gifted, civilized people that's distinguished from the rest of the world by those factors, and see the desperation that chased these people who now are called Europeans out of Europe into Africa, into what we now call the Americas, into this land right here. We say that somebody was here, so Columbus didn't discover it. But Columbus came on a mission of desperation, working for the nobility. When he got here, he found incredible civilization of people who had resources, who had quality lives. When Columbus came here, when the Spaniards got here to this territory, there were more than 1 million people living in what they now call Mexico City alone. Right. Incredibly wealthy, staggeringly so. If you read some of the diaries from the conquistadores who traveled to the land for Spain, and they talk about how beautiful and how wealthy, they'd never seen anything like it in their lives, and then they set out to destroy. So we're talking about where this myth of European wealth, civilization, creativity that outstripped the rest of the people on the planet Earth, it is nonsense. But wealth did come to what we now know as Europe. And it came as a consequence of slavery and colonialism. And for anybody who has problems understanding this, all you gotta do is recognizing that you're living right now on a territory that was taken from a people. This land that we talk about wealth, you talk about the wealth of California, Florida, all this, these indigenous people were the original custodians of this land. And this is a foundation for much of the wealth that we're talking about. People enjoying this country was taken. And then the resources that were, the production that came as a consequence of enslaved people. This is where the wealth comes from. But it didn't just happen here. The entire continent of Africa, think about this, 12 million square miles, was turned, as Marx said, into a warren for the commercial hunting of black skins. This is the origin of the capitalist system. The Africans were the first workers in the system. Before there was a capitalism, Africans were building, working to create what is now called capitalism.
Say it. All right.
This is what made Marx say himself, that wage slavery in Europe, he called it slavery. This is white people with a job. Wage slavery in Europe required as a pedestal slavery pure and simple in the New World. He's saying that the benefits that white working people got through the capitalist system relied on the workers, the black workers who were producing all the value that gave birth to capitalism itself.
All right, then.
You see what I'm saying? This is where it came from. This is why we say in the final analysis, the class question is located in the colonial question. This is where the class question is located, right here in the colonial question. And the ability of the workers of any nationality to recognize the central issue being the liberation of the African and oppressed workers of the world that gave rise to capitalism and to Europe itself and the white man. This is where you see the real struggle to overturn the system being located. You can't solve this problem through tiptoeing around. We're not going to be able to increment our way out of this. And it requires us to understand the essence of the contradiction. Saying more than that, Marx, I like Marx, he was a very smart man. He just missed some critical questions. You can be a genius, right? And as long as you're starting to solve the wrong problem, you just have ingenious wrong solutions. But Marx was a scientist, and he really struggled But the best of scientists can't come up with good solutions unless they're able to ask the right questions. But he was able to recognize that systems, that social systems, society is comprised of an economic base and a superstructure that responds to, born of the economic basis. Marx said that wage slavery in Europe, he's talking about the workers, but he's also talking about a social system. One of the profound features of capitalism is wage labor, right? Wage slavery in Europe required as a pedestal slavery pure and simple in what he calls the New World. So the entire organization, you're looking at the economic base. But upon this economic base, then that expands and includes the colonial domination, colonialism all around the world. This is the essence. This is where the resources are coming from. That's why they fight and war to take oil in the Middle East and in Northern Africa and what have you. This is where most of the resources are located. That's why they're in Africa today, for human and material resources. So this is the economic basis of the capitalist system. Rest in the colonial question. But on that base, there arises a superstructure. And the superstructure, these are the ideas, the ideology, the customs even. Sometimes even religion itself, culture, the political institutions, they are born of this economic base. So he said, people talking about racism, this, racism, that, and unlearn your racism. What the hell does it have to do with anything? This notion, this explanation of reality that is produced and distributed from the centers of learning in this country and from other centers as well, this has its origin in slavery and colonialism. Your church, even. And how people think and understand stuff. And the whole notion of the superiority of white people. Because if you don't say white people are superior, if you don't say white people got everything we got as compared to black people and other people in the world, what do you say? You say we got it because we stole it, because we raped and murdered indigenous people, because we turned Africa into a world for the hunting of commercial skins. Is that what you say? Do you say this is how we got it, that we created mayhem around the world? No, you don't say that. You say because we're better than they are. Right. Because something wrong with them, not us. Right. And this is the explanation. This is that's born of this economic base. This is the superstructure. This is what informs the professors at your university, the philosophers and what have you. This is where it comes from. I think it's important to understand that. But more than this system won't work. You can't just rob people, steal people, take their children away from them like they did Kunde. Like there's so many people, not just Kunde, but Kunde's grandmama and her great-great-grandmama, and people who lost any relationship to their past that is before them. Not like the Irish who can go back to the homeland in Ireland someplace and what have you. Not just Kunde, but all the people who are right now been turned into refugees on the continent of Africa, who are traversing in the richest continent in the world, trying to get from one place to another, crossing the Mediterranean, chasing their resources, using every kind of desperate means to get there, dying in the Mediterranean as a consequence of that. Capitalism is doing that. Capitalism is doing that. But that is not what's explained to people. This is happening because everybody wants to get to America because we're so free. That's why everybody wants to get to Europe, because we got such a great, wonderful system of democracy. They don't have democracy, and we do. So nobody does that willingly. In order for any of this to work, in order to take the labor from human beings, they do the work and you get the money. They build the houses and you own the houses. They build the cars and you own the cars. All you do is ask your secretary to look on the computer and move something from this place to that place. You don't do anything other than that. And you've got even an assistant who will tell the people to move something from this place to that place. Oh, you don't do anything at all. But you got all the wealth. And nobody's cut your head off yet. And nobody is cut your throat and done everything that they can to destroy you. Why? It's illogical that somebody hasn't come to get your head. Yes. Why don't they do it? Because there's another organization that has come into being that's called the state. Yes. The state. It is an organization of coercion, of violence. And through this state, the ruling class has a monopoly on violence. That's the police. That's the army. That's the court system. That's the jail. That's the prisons. And various other institutions connected to them. That's how they control everything else. Otherwise, you'll be up in arms. You'll be taking their heads off. How do you think they can kill Kunde's daughter and that we are not at their butts? We're not knocking down Gutierrez's door. Why do you think they can do that? Because they have this instrument called a state. Why do you think they can work those Mexican farm workers on those farms, doing everything, denying their children rights, and then kick them out the country when it comes time to pay them? It's the state. They have force and violence that makes it possible to do that. And Lenin said the Democratic Republic is the best shell for the capitalist state. Because you can vote. You can vote. You can vote on August 29th. But the capitalist state and all of its minions and everything that works to support it is trying to make sure that you don't know anybody else to vote for except capitalists, their representatives. You don't hear any ideas that challenges capitalism because the electoral process itself is something that's being advanced by the state. It is an instrument of bourgeois state power, the electoral process itself. Yes, yes. But it has contradictions. Several contradictions. One, black people are not supposed to participate in elections. Right. Black people are not supposed to participate in elections. Yeah. Not in this country, not in France, not in Germany, not in England, any place else, because we were under white power, colonial domination. We were not supposed to be voting in white people's elections. Right. So that's the contradiction. They didn't create this thing for us to participate in it, but we're here. Yeah. And they made sure, they tried to make sure that by the time we could vote, they had killed anybody and destroyed any organization that was going to take the interests of the working class to the polls. They even killed Martin Luther King. All he wanted was some rights for poor people and immigration and what have you. They killed Malcolm X. They attacked the Black Panther Party. They've destroyed every effort that African and other oppressed people have made to extricate ourselves from the stranglehold of a capitalist colonial state power. That's what they've done. And now here we are, with all the questions that they killed the Panthers about, with all the questions that they killed Malcolm X about, with all the questions that they destroyed SNCC and the Black Power movement about, with all the questions that Marx and Lenin and Engels talked about, here we are. And we've taken them to the electoral process. But we recognize that in order for the working people to be free, it's not going to come as a consequence of the electoral process. It's going to come as a consequence of overthrowing the state apparatus of which the electoral process is a part. And what we have done, termites do not build houses, but they love houses. And so, for lack of a better term, we termites in the system. Our objective is not to validate the system, but the system cannot handle the questions that we have to take to it. We use this pedestal here in the system to go to the African working class and to the other oppressed people to educate masses of people so that they can identify their interests and identify their enemies. That's what this campaign does. And so it becomes an instrument to overthrow the powers of oppression, to get rid of our oppressors, to get rid of systems of exploitation. That's what reparations is about. Ain't nothing so mysterious about reparations. We talk about Jews got reparations, but one of the reasons Jews got reparations, not because white power suddenly loved Jews. You think that? Yeah, okay, suddenly let's kill all the Jews, and now we have an epiphany. We love Jews now, etc. Hell no. Jews got reparations because they needed to set up a capitalist state right there in the Middle East to act as guardians of white capitalist interests in the Middle East over that oil and every other geopolitical asset that imperialism has. That's why they gave them the money. They gave them those resources for that purpose. That's why they gave it to the Jews. All of a sudden they love Jews. No. They want somebody who's not an Arab to be over those resources, and they put them in a situation where they have to fight for their lives in order to keep it. And they have seduced a whole sector of the Jewish population to blindly take themselves there and put themselves in harm's way, doing the bidding of a terrible, horrible imperialism in the name of being some kind of chosen people against whom all these crimes were committed. And none of them believe that, because if they did, they'd be attacking Berlin by now. Yes. You see. So I really appreciate this opportunity that NPW gives us to have these great discussions, political education. This tells us why we have to win. This tells us why we are winning. This tells us why millionaires, cowardly, punkish millionaires won't be able to stay on the same platform with this 27-year-old kid. Millionaires, they got all the money, they got all the resources. And it shows us why. That when it comes down to it, what do the millionaires and capitalist class do when they're confronted with the workers' truth? They bring in the capitalist state. And that's what happened at the Hilton when they had 14, 15 carloads of policemen because they couldn't handle the bait. We can't handle the debate. We can't handle the mass of the people in a nonviolent confrontation over the critical questions of our time. Send in the army. And that's what they did. And then they used their media. Penny said, I can't call them whores anymore because that's an offense against working people who. But there must be a name for the media, something else. And Comrade Jesse got in trouble because he threw them all in the basket. And we don't want to throw them all in the basket. But these are the forces that contribute to the narrative. They keep you also, make you destroy your confidence in our capacity to win. Yes. That you're on the right side. Yes. They take this narrative from the rulers. They teach you to think like the ruling class. Yeah. They teach you to accept the views of the ruling class, to accept the notions of the ruling class as your own views and your own notions. Yeah. Well, this is a movement that's educating the working class, and I've never seen anything like it before. And I just want to say that we have an incredible campaign, that we definitely are winning, and that we expect to occupy that joint up on 5th Street that these crooks and criminals have been occupying for such a long time, protected by a ring of steel in the form of the police, to make sure that the people can't get to their asses after they commit so many atrocities against the people, not the least of which is dropping 250 million gallons of fecal matter in the water. Now, if that's not something that would send you down there to take somebody's head, I can't think of another. So, anyway, I just wanted to say a few words, and I really appreciate again NP Dunn for giving us this opportunity to engage in political education. This is an incredible campaign. Don't you think so? This is a magnificent campaign. And I don't know any place else on earth where you can go and get this kind of political education, where we can talk, you know, around some of these critical questions. Because the reason Jesse can say about reparations, and we can talk about the African working class, and Keeley can talk about it, shouldn't be offensive to white people. The fact is, we get into the essential class question. All the contradictions, there are all kinds of contradictions in society, but there is a main contradiction around which all the others revolve. And if you want to get rid of white women's oppression, white homosexual oppression, white workers' exploitation, if you want to do that, then you unite with people destroying the main contradiction, which is the oppression of nations by nations. That's the thing that all of this rests. Thank you. Uhuru.
We are winning. We are winning. All right. Everyone, please welcome Akingate to the stage so she can let y'all know how to keep this campaign going by giving Uhuru.
Where's some music? Everybody knows the stuff. You are the time. This is now the part of the program where everyone has an opportunity to participate, because we need you. As a result of you that we are winning.
please welcome Comrade Penny and Comrade Muhammadu to give the campaign reports.
Uhuru, want to salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Want to salute Comrade Akile Canyon. And Jesse Neville, next mayor.
So this campaign has been amazing. These campaigns have been amazing. We've had a lot of energetic, supportive volunteers and a lot of people we really do want to thank. First of all, we'd like to thank Comrade Hakima for all the energy he brings to the campaign. We'd like to thank Comrade Ghazi for being Akile's campaign manager.
All right, we have so many people we want to thank, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I do want to say, we usually turn on the lights during this part if we could, because then we can see you. Just to let you know, we're going to turn on the lights now, so it's a little bit different, so we can interact, and this is kind of our meeting part of this whole rally today, and it's really important, but we're gaining momentum, incredible momentum. We talked a little bit about the Tuesday rally, which so many of you came out to and so many other people. The fact that the Jim Crow rally was going on just in its private little, it was 625 empty seats at the Palladium between the two Ricks. Meanwhile, we had the people out there at Williams Park, just enthusiasm. We had an incredible rally. Amazing presentations by Chairman Omali Yeshitela, by the candidates. Akile was off the charts. Jesse was brilliant, as always. We had Reverend Murray, who was very powerful. And the candidates are going to be speaking at Reverend Murray's church next Sunday, by the way, and that's really, really important.
Yes.
And also, there will be an event at Reverend Murray's church on August 8th, and we'll talk to you more about that, but it's going to be a town hall meeting with the candidates. It's going to be very powerful. We want to salute young Comrade Laura. Here today. Wow, what a great presentation that she made. And I also really want to salute Brooke and Jim Anderson. And I would like them to, could you come up? Would you come up? I really want to put all right. Uhuru. Uhuru. I just want to say that not only have these incredible comrades walked almost the entire length and breadth of District 5. Wow, for months, every day going out and marking off the streets, the neighborhoods that you've been in. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. That is really, really exemplary. They're also our top donors to the campaign. We want to salute that. But most important, these comrades are leaders, were leaders in the Democratic Party locally, and now they have come on over to the people's side. They have joined the side of unity through reparations, of radical times, radical solutions, and I just really appreciate you both so much. And I just want to say one other thing, because this is really powerful, because the only way that Rick Baker is going to be defeated is through Jesse Neville. The only way. Rick Kreisman is dead in the water, as they say. He cannot win. And we cannot give this over to Rick Baker. We can win, and we are winning, and we're gaining enormous momentum now. So one of the things that we're doing is making a call to anybody else who's part of the structure of that old dead Democratic Party infrastructure here in Pinellas County or any place else actually in the country, and say, you know, how cynical it is for you to hang on to something. For what? For what? To be the president or the, you know, whatever, any office holder in the local Democratic Party, because you're fearful of what? Because if you are dedicated to the principles of transformation for the people, of victory for the people, then you're not dedicated to a structure that's dead. You are dedicated to winning an election and being part of the people. And you know, there are people that we know are going to vote for Jesse Neville and for Healy, but we don't want your secret vote. We want your skills. We want, you know, all of the door-to-door that you know how to do, all the phone calls you know how to do, all your strategy, all your experience. Bring it here, because we're winning. We're winning. And I want to say too that there's some people who are tied to what they call the Stonewall Democrats, the LGBT Democratic Party of Pinellas County and St. Petersburg. And I just don't see that, because that's the white LGBT. Stonewall was led, that rebellion was led off the impetus and leadership of the Black liberation movement of that period, of the Black Power movement, and the leaders, the physical leaders of that rebellion were African trans women. And this movement is Stonewall. This movement is Stonewall. So don't be about rights for white LGBT at the expense of the African community. And you can be part of this. You can be part of the leadership of a movement that is very much featuring and has the enormous participation of African same gender loving and trans people. This is where all the rights of LGBT, everyone is going to be won through the leadership of this movement right here. So we're calling on everybody from the Democratic Party, come on over, join the Andersons, join a dynamic and incredible movement. Thank you. So I just want to say that, oh, wow, have you seen the Weekly Challenger lately? This is such a great paper. We salute Lynn Johnson, who is there on Tuesday. And right on the front page, but this is not unusual, but right on the front page, Unity Through Reparations Movement holds rally, talking about the Tuesday rally. Right here, what is public safety? This is by Akile, or is this by Jesse or Akile? This is by Akile, this article right here with a beautiful picture of Akile, right over here. And then we have, let me see here. Oh, Diane Hughes, who's part of Black Power 96.3 Radio. Yeah. And then, wow, look at this fabulous ad for Jesse Neville. And that's going to be in for the next 4 weeks. And then, next page, more about the rally with all these fabulous pictures right here. And the next page, an article by our own Eniko, Comrade Eniko. So, wow, that'd be so exciting. So yeah, it's true. There is the Tampa Bay Times, there's the white power, bourgeois media, and there is the African media. African media, Black Power 96, the Burning Spear newspaper, and the Weekly Challenge. Ballinger, among others. So we definitely want to salute that. And then we're going to talk about, you know, the momentum that we're gaining through the work that we're doing, that all of you are doing. Wow. And to say yesterday, 26 people called, 26 comrades, most of them here, 8 of them from other parts of the country, called 2,000 people. We had 8 of our callers were from Boston, Seattle, Gainesville, Georgia, Washington, and St. Louis, and we are doing another phone bank Wednesday from 4 to 8 p.m., and then we're going to begin doing it every week, but also every single Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. we do the calls, we do the phone banking calls, and we also go door to door. And yesterday there were about 15 or more people going door to door, so I'm going to call Star up, and Star and Mohammed are going to tell you a little bit about that. Our field managers, our incredible team of field managers, Star and Mohamedou, along with Hakima, who's a very important part of that team, just leading the people, just really going out and penetrating all of the important precincts and districts that we are winning. So I'm going to bring them up.
So as y'all may know, as y'all may see, I mean, because it's clearly obvious, we are winning. We have the momentum. I mean, there are people talking about this campaign all over the country. Akile was just recently featured in this month's issue of Ebony. You know, we're being talked about all over the interwebs, and that's thanks to the people. That's thanks to y'all. That's thanks to the effort that every single individual who is a part of these campaigns puts in, whether it's their time, whether it's their resources, whatever abilities they have. And that's why we call upon you, every single one of you, to join CURED, Community, it's not up there anymore, Communities United for Reparations and Economic Development, because we need you to participate in making sure that we continue to win, because we're gonna win, but it's going to be with y'all's help. In order to do that, we need y'all to come out with us to go door to door. As Penny just said, you know, we just had 15 to 20 people out there yesterday, Saturday, going door to door, talking to people, telling them about the candidates. And a lot of people were telling us, yeah, we already voted. We voted for Jesse and Akile. We want them in office. And that's what we need. That's what we need. We need people going out there, making sure that we're getting those yes votes, making sure that people know about these candidates because they're the most amazing candidates on the ballot. I mean, we have people telling us that. We have people telling us, yes, we've heard about Jesse and Akile. They're the most beautiful people on the ballot right now. And we agree. So that's why we need y'all. We need y'all to come to our mass phone banking events. We need y'all to come out to our door-to-door, which happen almost every day. We need y'all to participate in this last month to make sure that we get these candidates in office so that the people have a voice in this system so that we can work through it.
And there's something for everybody in this room to do. I mean, looking around, I've seen almost every single one of you out there in one way or another. The Andersons last week started this campaign of being out at, I think the first time was 6:45 in the morning at the freeway off-ramp near 54th Avenue South and 31st. And before I even got there by 7, signs, Akile and Jesse's signs were lining the on-ramps and the off-ramps. I saw Jim like sprinting over to position. They're holding the yard signs. And then just randomly, about 3 days later, Baker people are out there with like cash tumbling out of their pockets because they're being paid. We're not paid. We're just volunteers. A lot of us came from other parts of the country to come for this campaign. So starting at 7 a.m. every morning last week, we were either out there with signs or people in social media. I want to congratulate and thank the social media team. They've been doing an excellent job. If you don't have, aren't posting anything out every day from Jesse and Akile's Facebook pages, please do that. Please share, invite your friends to these events. Share today's rally. It's been so powerful. Salute to Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the candidates. So we also go out in what we call the Breakfast Club, and we go to busy breakfast joints and get yes votes. We take our clipboards out, and we're going to be going out every morning this week. We need help with standing out there with yard signs. Last week, Rick Kreitzman happened to drive by the Andersons, and Sean Moore. Salute to Sean Moore in the audience, who's done a lot out there, and his fiancée Samantha. Shout out to the field teams. It was hot yesterday. It was really hard to keep morale up, but the candidates, Ghazi, Dia, Ann, Zoe, everybody was over here on phone banking. Kyle, who am I missing? Tanya has done so much for the campaign in so many ways. She's back there at the Black Power 96.3 table. Scott Millender was out there. Janice was on the phones. The Milesburys, Joanna and Jody Milesbury, are kind of handling Lakewood Estates. They're the ones who had Baker people bring Baker signs to their door, and they didn't answer. And then as they were leaving, they saw Baker people messing with our signs and putting theirs in. I don't know if you've noticed, we had a bunch of signs out and then they just disappeared. So politics are dirty, but we have the people on our side, and we're playing fair. We have integrity, and this is the place to be. If there's anybody else in the audience, Rob Simon's in your articles that you keep printing. Here's this writer of these articles. And the Robies, we really miss Maggie Roby this week, but Rose and Jeff were out at the rally, and Jeff's writing excellent articles for the campaign as well. There's just so many people. Elsa was here on phone banking last week as well. Cheryl was out on the, on the street team. Martez over here came in just a couple days ago and just really taken the campaign by storm. Excellent. So there's just so many, and the barbershops in Tombaway. I mean, we go out there almost every day. Someone says, "Oh yeah, and Tombaway cuts my hair." Jesse and Akile definitely have our vote. And if you didn't see Akile confronting Rick Kreisman in a barbershop, you have to get a hold of that video. It's so powerful. So there's so much going on. Everybody in this room has a role to play. Early birds talk to me about the Breakfast Club. Night owls talk to me about putting out signs. Is a great time when there's not too many cars on the road, and we need donations. Every little contribution helps. Uhuru.
So Hakima. For all the new members, for everyone who's new to the Sunday rallies, for everyone who's new to Cured, who's willing and wanting to join, to be on the winning side of history, to be on the winning team, to make sure that we get these candidates in office. Hakima and Aniko over there will be having, and Jackson, my bad, Jackson. Hakima, Aniko, and Jackson will have clipboards with Cured sign-up sheet, and we'll just be asking y'all for some of your information so we can get in contact with you, find out when you can come out with us, find out what you can do, whether it's door to door, whether it's phone banking, whatever it may be.
And I wanted to ask you, you didn't mention whose door you knocked on yesterday.
Oh, this is a great story. So, we're out in the heat. I haven't drank water in about an hour. I'm tired, but I'm still smiling in people's faces. And I'm knocking on the doors, and like someone I had really not expected to come out with a smile, Corey Gibbons, who's running against Akile Canyon, comes out smiling. He says, "Hi, Mohamedou." And I'm like, "Hi, Corey, how you doing?" And he's like, "I'm doing wonderful." He's sitting there alone, this big waft of air conditioning hits me. I'm like, "Oh, thank you, Corey, for that." And I'm like, "Have you heard of Jesse?" And he's like, yes, I've heard of Jesse. Move along now. He's watching his big screen TV on his Saturday afternoon, wondering if he could ever get a team as capable and amazing as our Cured team. And the answer is no.
So just sitting alone in an empty house watching
Corey Gibbons for District 6 t-shirt on.
So no team, nothing, but we are winning. We are winning. So we got 3 big signs up, thanks to Nate. Nate Moulton. We're going to have 3 more signs, big signs each for the candidates, and they should be up by the end of the week. So we're very excited about that. I really want to thank Betty, who I don't think is here right now, for all the work on calling the churches. I want to thank the Zaytoon restaurant on Central that's going to have a great fundraiser for us on Monday, August 7th from 4 to 5:30 p.m. I want to salute them and invite everyone out. Salute Reverend Murray, who's going to have a town hall meeting on August 8th. We have our first mailer that's going to go out to vote by mail people in District 6, and that should be going out in the next few days, so we're excited about that. We've gotten 400 yard signs out. We're ordering another 100 each. This is each. So we're excited. We're getting them out, and I know it's a war because Baker and others are taking them up, and the city, but we keep seeing them more and more. They're proliferating all over the city. So we also have calls and door-to-door this weekend and every Saturday. Please come out and knock on doors. You can also do that in the evenings, any evening. Hold signs, as Star said. during the day, and we're making calls just about every day. So we need you. This is a movement. We are winning. We need the people to get engaged. We have 4 weeks left, and every day counts. Every day we have to produce value for the election. We have to have yes votes. We have to talk to people. We have to win them over, and we have to raise resources. So Aniko is going to be talking to anybody. Can everybody raise their hand if you've not become a member of Communities United for Reparations and Economic Development, which says CURED, St. Pete CURED. And anybody that would like to become a member, raise your hand. Okay, raise your hand. And all right, so Aniko and Jackson are going to come around and talk to you and tell you how to become a member, and we're very excited about that. So the final part of this report is to ask anybody to come up who wants to give a testimony. I did want to salute Rob, by the way, for getting Counterpunch, which is very, very influential website. I think you got your second article into that, right? Wow, that's so good, Shannon.
Did you know that Glenn Ford and Black Agenda Report is going to
Wow. Yeah, the chairman, if you didn't hear him, he said that Glenn Ford from the website Black Agenda Report is going to republish the articles by Rob Simon. So if you haven't seen them, check them out on Counterpunch, and then probably this coming week at Black Agenda Report. So that's powerful. Anybody want to come up and just talk about your experiences being out in the field, or talking to your friends, or why you want to come forward and be part of CURED and be part of this whole movement of unity through reparations? Brooke.
Hi, I just wanted to let everybody know that Jim and I and Sean, I think, are going to be out at St. Anthony's Hospital tomorrow, 6:15 to 6:30, waving signs. We do have 2 super stackers, which you all saw at the I'll call it the protest in Williams Park the other day, so we'll be using those, and then some signs that we have in the back of our vehicle. So come on out, and we'll be out every day except probably Friday this week.
All right.
Hello, I'm Sean. I just want to thank everybody here and the movement and Chairman Yeshitela. You know, for a long time, I've believed a lot of the ideology that permeates this room and a lot of the things Chairman Yeshitela speaks about, but I've had no way of doing anything with it other than just talking theory with people on Left Book. And what this has done is given me a medium to apply praxis and actually get out and do something. And I want to thank everybody for that, because that has done so much for me as a person. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to keep doing it. You know, I'm in school full time. I work full time, and just any spare moment I get, I would love to keep taking part in this. And I just want to touch on one thing that you had mentioned, Mohamedou, about Corey Givens. Just in the last week and a half, a couple people know about. I went to a Rowdies game, and I saw Rick Baker there. Walking with a very large, presumably a bodyguard of some sort, and I was handing out palm cards, or trying to, while I was there. I got a free ticket from work, so I figured, what the heck? And he walked past me, and I tried to hand him a couple palm cards for Jesse and Akile, and he looked at me and kind of rolled his eyes and just kept walking. And less than a week later, when I was out spinning signs with Brooke and Jim, we saw, right as before we were leaving, I saw Mayor Kreisman in a black SUV, a city vehicle, sitting at the stoplight. And as you know, I was crossing the street, we were just getting finished, and I got to wave my signs in front. So I've had the express pleasure of interacting with both of our other esteemed candidates in the last week. So they can run, but they can't hide. I just wanted to share that with
everyone. Well, I just really want to thank Chairman for that political education. And my mom is voting for Jesse, but she was a little bit concerned about the African working class having their say. So I had to talk to her and explain that to her. I would never have been able to explain it to her without your education. And then she also said to me in that conversation, you know, Jesse says a lot of the things that the chairman says. And I said, well, Mom, you and I say all the things we learned at the universities we went to. We're, you know, I'm going to the University of Uhuru now.
Hello, I'm Matthew Fernandez. I spoke with Mohamedou just a few days ago. This is my first rally. I heard of the Uhuru movement through the, believe it or not, I started with the Jesse Neville signs in Aquila. I work for the United States Postal Service. So I deliver the communities we wish to help and everything. Just wanted to introduce myself a little bit. You know, I used to work for Walmart. I worked there for 1 year. Malcolm X kept me going. I would have his speeches on my iPod, and every time they would tell me, I'm cutting your hours. I'm making sure you don't get your unemployment benefits. I would hear his words when he says, revolution is in Africa, revolution is in Asia, revolution is in Europe. You can't change anything without a revolution. I'm a big fan of Noam Chomsky. I heard about him when I saw Hugo Chavez's speech at the UN, and he waved the book, Hegemony or Survival. If you want to know about how bad the empire is, read the book, and he couldn't read the whole thing because, you know, he was short on time. But I just wanted to introduce myself, and I've always wanted to be part of a revolutionary movement. My hometown is Miami, Florida, was Miami, Florida. I lived in Long Beach for 1 year. I saw revolution all the time. I never got the chance to experience it firsthand. Mr. Chairman, what a wonderful speech. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I wanted to cry. That's how it really hit me hard. So I just wanted to say hello to everyone, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my time here. So, revolution!
Hi, my name is Jody, and I'm the one whose daughter chased the Baker boys out of the yard when they tried to steal one of my 2 Jesse signs. But something else strange happened a couple days after that. I wonder whether anybody else has had this happen to them. Usually when codes enforcement sends something out, they send it by letter, and it's personalized, and it says there's this violation and that violation and this and that. Well, a couple days after this happened with the Baker boys, I got what said it was a legal notice posted in my yard, and it was pre-printed and had 4 different options for different things on it, with 2 of them marked off with squiggly lines, and said that there were these violations in my yard, and I had 10 days or whatever to fix them. Well, it wasn't even signed, and I'm wondering whether it's even real. Anybody else ever have that happen to them?
No, but that's
You live in Lakewood Estates, by any chance? Okay, this was in Lakewood Estates. And we do have a white codes witch who's targeted me before, but I've always had stuff mailed to me, never a legal notice posted.
They're getting at us however they can. They're trying to steer it.
Okay. But what's weird about it is that there's other violations they could have gotten me on, but this was a pre-printed thing, so it's just weird. Okay, just wanted to check and see.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering, Anthony Holloway, okay, I read on the computer today that he is not supporting the Uhuru movement. I read that, but it was very vague as to why he wouldn't support it, whereas in the Tampa Bay Times, they keep hammering Rick Baker why he won't get behind the gay parade thing. And he comes up and he has to give a reason why. So can we get the Tampa Bay Times to demand Anthony Holloway give a reason why the chief of police of St. Petersburg won't support, he's a black man, he won't even support you guys. Can we pin him down and make him give a reason why?
All right.
Y'all gonna respond? Oh, no. Okay. Uhuru. My name is Diaki Esse. I'm the station manager of Black Power 96.3 FM. And I just have to say, when I'm not buried in the office and, you know, the opportunities that I have had to go out with the campaign and the campaigns, excuse me, and do outreach, it has just been astronomical. I could not be even more enthralled with the candidates as I am at this moment, and I'm just so proud to be a part of this. And I just also want to say that, you know, it helps you when you're participating in something such as this. It helps you to not be reactionary to the issues that are taking place, you know, right now. When you immerse yourself in the work of change and knowing that you're doing something to change the situations, the issues, it gives you hope. And, you know, it just, you know, it gives you a future. And I just have to say that, yeah, what we're doing is just awesome. We are winning. We will win. And, yeah, Uhuru.
Uhuru. My name is Scott.
Last one.
Last one. Oh, sorry. My name is Scott Millender, and I really appreciate the study, the political study that Chairman Amalia Stella gave today, and all the both candidates, just amazing candidates. And I think you know, it's being part of this movement, the kind of understanding that I have as a white person who, you know, grew up with a certain understanding, being educated a certain way. It's really just amazing how the world changes, and just the things that seem so obvious are not obvious anymore, and the things that we have to be constantly hear over and over again, the nonsense, suddenly you can just sweep away and say, we're putting that aside and forget about it. You know, if you look at my sort of bio, you'd say I have an MBA. I was in the business world for 25 years. I'm a teacher now, so I have a different perspective about my work. And being part of this movement changes everything. But you know, so I see things in terms of you know, the finances, and I always like to look at what the ruling class puts out about itself, because there's some parts of the ruling class who are the smarter ones, who really, you know, there's a lot of propaganda out there, but they have to say what's real because they have to protect what they have. So they have to be real about it. So for example, right now, you have like the Wall Street and the finance people saying that, you know, we have to reinflate the bubble. We have to reinflate the bubble in the world because right now all the economies are crashing. That includes China, that includes, and you look at who actually produces the value in the world, which is not here in the US so much anymore. It's everywhere else in the world. It's in Africa more, it's in Asia, right? But here's the thing that how it connects to this campaign here. Because when you see what's going on in the microcosm, you can see the whole thing. Right now, the land values are being inflated, and that's gentrification. And you see all the big buildings going up. That's an attempt to inflate the bubble again. That's an attempt to get capital, because that's what's happening right now. These Wall Street, you know, hedge funds are coming and buying up the property. They're becoming landlords. So, and that has always attacked the African community first, you know, and that's where it's deepest, as the chairman says, right? But guess what, white people? You think you're going to be part of that? No, they're throwing away you too now. They have to. They have no choice. Don't you understand? They understand what's going on in Africa. They understand what's happening with a movement like this. They understand that. So you have to join this movement because that is your future, and that's what the Uhuru movement has taught me. And if you analyze what's actually going on in the world, and forget all what the St. Pete Times says. Forget about, you know, listen to the ones who have their money there. You need to listen to them with a certain perspective because they'll tell you. They'll give you a signal what they're thinking, all right? Because they won't say, join the movement. They'll say, this is what we have to do to prevent that from happening. And that's how, and so you see it all over. And Uhuru, I appreciate everything that's going on, and we are going to have victory.
Excuse me, let me get everything. All right, cool. So I was asked to speak. Yo, Uhuru, I love you, baby. You're just so black. You're just black, man. You can't, you know, you just can't beat that blackness, man. I love you. Never lose, never choose to, Bruise, cruise, who do something to us, talk go through us, you know, girls walk to us, want to do us, screw us, who us? Yeah, Papa and Puff. Close like Starsky and Hutch, stick the clutch. There I squeeze 3 at your cherry M3, bang every MC easily. That's all I want to say. I love you, baby.
All right, well, I don't know how I'm gonna top that one, but well, I just want to say that I'm just so appreciative of Cured and this campaign, and how I just wanted to point out that when Penny, she was just pointing out how I had an article in the Weekly Challenger and stuff like that. I never thought before coming into this movement and coming to this political life that I would be a writer and, you know, writing things up to, you know, some of the things that are happening to me, because that chance was never given to me before. I was always told that my voice was not relevant and my issue should be brought to a higher body of some sort that didn't pertain to me or my interests at whatsoever. And so now I have the chance to write how I feel and write what I'm experiencing, and this is a chance that all African youth have now, and it's just, it's what the future should look like, and this is what the candidates are putting forth, that this is the way forward, and this is how free America is going to look when we all have the chance to speak and we all have the chance to voice how we feel under this colonial system, and this has just been an amazing experience for me. Thank you.
My name is Rob Simons, and I just had 2 quick things to say. First is I just want to thank you all. You all have restored my faith in humanity. So many times we hear on the news for sensational headlines of the evilness of humanity and how the world is becoming a worse and worse place. But we never hear about the positivity and the movements where people from all different diverse backgrounds come together and fight for the oppressed. And that's what's happening here. So thank you all. It's really helped me a lot. And the last thing I want to say is I know the chairman was looking for another term of what you could call the press. And I have the perfect term for you. I personally would call them prostitutes. Because when I think of prostitution, I think of them, because they are the ones that prostitute themselves for careerism and to enrich themselves by not telling the truth and by telling people what the system wants them to tell them. So prostitutes.
Hello, my name's Rose Roby. I'm with the Green Party, and it ain't easy being green, I can tell you that. And I will tell you, when you are a radical, socialist, revolutionary green, it doesn't make you the most popular person in the party, let me tell you that. So, you know, my husband and I have had many a fight over, I would say going 4 years now, but I think it intensified this year, of Jeff, leave me alone. I want to cook. I want to create recipes. I don't want to do this anymore. The left is dead. It's dead. Please just let me be. And I swear I did feel that way until I met this movement. And here I found something that was alive. And just seeing, you know, post-Trump winning, it was like I saw like much of the left jump off a cliff like lemmings. You know, like, we all died because Hillary didn't win and she was the one who was gonna save progressiveness. And I don't, what the hell are you saying? But, you know, I really thought that it was just over, and now I don't feel that way anymore. Now I see that there is something revolutionary out there, and it's got to be, because we cannot let the ruling class step over us and destroy the Black community any further. We can't do it. And every white person, the other day I said that white people know they have this debt. Now, I don't think it's fair to say every white person, because there's some stupid white people out there, but I think that white people know it, but they want to declare moral bankruptcy. or so many do. They want to declare that they are morally bankrupt and therefore don't have to pay that debt. But there is a lot of white people in St. Pete, and it's going to be growing, who are saying, no, we need unity. We need reparations. It is time. Thank you so much.
All right, we are winning. Unity through? Reparation. Unity through? Reparation. Radical times? Radical solution. Uhuru.
Uhuru. As said before, my name is Hekima Ukimbizi, and as also said before, this is a people's movement. This is a people's organization. And with that being said, we have a lot that we do. And so my purpose right now is to bring y'all the announcements of what we do. So first, I would like to bring up Comrade Diakiese to tell you a little bit about our wonderful, amazing radio station, Black Power 96.3 FM.
Uhuru and good afternoon. My name is Diakiese. I'm your station manager for our radio station, Black Power 96.3 FM. I just want to let you guys know, we here personally in the Uhuru House, we know how wonderful Black Power 96.3 is. But it is us and our responsibility to get, the word out about Black Power 96. So, we just really need volunteers to come to the station and help out, with the initiatives that we have going on right now. We need supporting and sustaining members of the station because we are a nonprofit organization of the wonderful African People's Education and Defense Fund, which is led by DeCiona. So, I just really can't overstate what an important resource Black Power 96.3 is. And in addition to the Burning Spear, we are really working to educate African people and even white people about the issues of the African community and equipping them with the knowledge, that they need to know as far as like defining who we are for ourselves, defining who the enemy is, and just making ourselves feel good about ourselves. It feels good when you can hear African music from all over the world, and when you can hear issues that affect you as a people. So I do have this sign-up sheet where you can provide your contact information, and when you have some downtime from working with the campaign, come and work with Black Power 96.3 FM. So again, you can find me right here at the back table, where you can also sign up to become a supporting or sustaining member. And just to let you know, a supporting member is someone who makes a one-time donation, and a sustaining member is someone who makes a donation on a monthly basis. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, please come and see us at the back table. And also to let you know, if you don't stay locally here in St. Petersburg, you can live stream at blackpower96.org, or you can download the app, which is available on your Android and your iPhone. So thank you so much. Uhuru.
This is how I'm gonna come up to the podium all the time. I'm set on that. All right, and so next, I'm a little short. So next, I wanna welcome up Comrade Akingaye to tell y'all about the Marcus Garvey Legacy Cruise, as well as the Chicago Black is Back Conference.
Uhuru. This year, the 2017 Marcus Garvey Legacy Cruise will take place December 9th through the 16th. And to say that this is a fundraiser for the African Socialists International, we'll be stopping in the Bahamas, St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, and Grand Turk, and we'll be sailing aboard the Carnival Glory. Again, this is a fundraiser for the African Socialists International. So we're asking you all to support. If you're unable to take the cruise yourself, please give a donation and become a sponsor. Aboard this cruise this year, as always, our featured guest will be our own Chairman Omali Yeshitela. It's a great opportunity to spend some time outside of this building with the chairman, where we're receiving political education, and there's lots of fun aboard. So I'm encouraging everyone. The boat is filling up. The Carnival Glory is filling up. So if you want to take this cruise, please see me over here at this table. Make sure that I get your contact information. I'm going. Who else in this room going? Woo-hoo! We're gonna have some fun. All right. Great, fantastic. So please, again, as I said, the Carnival Glory is filling up. So please see me over here at this table so I can get your contact information and take this cruise with us. Support the work of the African Socialist International. Uhuru. Next, on August 12th and 13th, at Chicago State University in Chicago, Illinois, will be the annual Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations Conference. The theme of this conference is the ballot and the bullet, elections, war, and peace in the era of Donald Trump. Some of our featured speakers will be Glenn Ford from the Black Agenda Report, Ajamu Baraka, who was the 2016 2016 Green Party Vice Presidential candidate, our own Aretha Kile Canyon, Cam Howard of Cobra, Chicago, Betty Davis of the New Abolitionist Movement, Khalid Rahim of the New African Independence Party, and Lisa Davis, who is the vice chair of the Black is Back Coalition, as well as Zaki Baruti of the Universal African Peoples Organization. Our aim will be to forward the national Black political agenda for self-determination, the declaration in 19 points that was voted on and united on by the coalition, showing people really practical ways how we can use this electoral process to really forward the liberation of Africa and African people. So again, that is August 12th and 13th, Chicago State University, the ballot and the bullet, elections, war, and peace in the era of Donald Trump. If you're interested in taking this trip, $268. We want to fill up a 15-passenger van. Please see me over here at this table. Uhuru.
Uhuru, I'd just like to appreciate everybody for giving their announcements, and for the very last announcement, say that we met or exceeded our goal of $300 and raised $312 today. Yes. So I just want to, thank all of you for giving and for, giving your testimonies and questions to us at the Sunday rally, and just really appreciate you all for coming out this weekend, and invite you again and remind you that we have phone makings on Wednesday. We have outreach all week, and we also have phone making and outreach this coming Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m. and actually starting in the morning if you want to do the street team outreach. So I just want to appreciate everyone for coming out, and make sure that you check out all of these tables with our literature, with our burning spears. Check out Impudum's table and check out the campaigns. And if you haven't already, go to the back and join Cured. Thank you all for coming out to the Sunday rally.
Care for your body like a pen. What else? Your body,